As a child, I lost my birth mother to breast cancer. Seeing the challenges of growing up in a small town that didn't have access to a lot of medical care, and that just set the fire burning. The fact that I was able to path a career in cancer disparities research really was an honor to me, and it felt like it was a way for me to honor my mother's legacy. Inclusion matters, and we've seen that in science. We've seen what's possible when we have people included, both included as the participants in the research study, but also included as the scientists asking the question. One of the things that drives me is knowing that one day there won't be a little boy who will lose his mom to breast cancer, that we'll have a cure, and that people's quality of life will be improved because of the amazing and innovative research that some brilliant young person is going to be able to do one day.
Thank you all so much for that. It's truly an honor. Seeing that picture of my mother when that was the age when I was in first grade. That was the picture that she had, and she had a wig on in that picture because she had lost her hair to chemotherapy and the breast cancer treatment. When I think about what it was like, there was a pivotal conversation in my life that really sparked a lot of the work that I do. And I like to say, and I like to think that my life is the amen to my mother's prayers. Because you think about when a parent prays a prayer, but they may not be there to see that prayer manifested, what that can do. And the conversation that I was privy to was the last conversation that my parents had. This is in the 80s when kids weren't allowed in the ICU. And my sister, who was a nurse at the time, actually snuck me up into the critical care unit to witness a conversation between my parents. I don't think that was the purpose of bringing me there to see this conversation, but that's what the universe had in store. I was able to witness my mother on her deathbed ask my father, "Is my baby going to be okay?" And he said he will. And he made an agreement to her that I would be okay, and he held to that agreement. My father was not an educated man. He didn't know a lot about science, but he knew that he had a little boy at home who liked to disrupt things, who liked to break things. And I had one teacher that called me disruptive. And when my sister came up to the school and she was like, "Well, what is he doing?" And she was like, "He's taking the books while I'm trying to read." And she said, "Well, he can read, and he likes to read to other people." And so that was me understanding that sometimes in the educational system, you need people to understand that a child is not just being disruptive, they're actually being innovative. And that's what y'all do here in this space. You create a safe space for kids to be disruptors so that they can disrupt health disparities, so that they can disrupt inequities. That's what you're doing when you build spaces like this, so that little boys like me don't have to depend on a sister to come up to the school and disrupt me from getting put in a path that could have set me out on a very different trajectory. Had my sister not come to that school and disrupted the journey that was about to start, imagine the conversation we may be having about my life today. But instead, I had several teachers throughout my journey that told me that my disruption was okay, that being inquisitive was okay, that being different was okay, asking these amazing questions was okay. And now I get a chance to encourage people all across the United States to ask questions. And I ask the questions of who's not at the table. Our program is doing some amazing things at the NIH. We're building one of the most diverse data sets in the country. We have over 80% of our participants are represented from under biomedical research, communities that are underrepresented biomedical research. But when I challenged my colleagues and I said, it's great that we have this diversity of data, but who's going to be asking the research questions from this data? Who's going to be inventing the next device that can really analyze this data in an innovative way, in a cost-saving way? So that's what you all are doing when you create spaces like this. You're creating the next generation of scientists, the next generation of artists, the next generation of activists, the next generation of community organizers, which are all needed to ensure that we disrupt things. So thank you all for honoring my disruptive life. Thank you all for creating a space like this, and my hope and my prayer is that other little boys, when they are disruptors, that they'll be honored for that disruption. Other little girls, when they're disruptives, they'll be honored for being disruptors. Thank you all.